Hello and welcome to Balanced Existence. I'm back with day 11 out of 31 on this series I'm doing. I'm recording it in December 2025, one reading every day. But of course, if you're coming across it, it is timeless whenever you find it. And I trust that there's a message here for you. So these readings are all about aligning us to our highest timeline, recalibrating our energy, getting down to the truths of what we need to address going forward. And so I hope that you guys have been enjoying this series as much as I have. I have found it to be so fulfilling and healing to channel into this every day. And it really is just bringing me so much joy. And so I hope that you can pick up on that and also get that value that I have. So we're going to start with an oracle card and an astrology card, and then we'll get into the tarot. So today's oracle card is Destiny. And there's a dolphin on this card. And it says, acknowledge your mission, align with your purpose. You have gifts to share with the world. Immediately, I'm picking up on following your creative passions. Whatever it is that you are driven to do, like whatever's popping into your mind of like a project or even just like a hobby that you've been wanting to do, whatever's coming into your mind, it's that. Like, you need to do that. You need to prioritize that, Spirit is saying. And this isn't just about keeping yourself busy, right? This is about you sharing your gifts, like sharing your light and your love through your creative expression with the world. And like I always talk about on this channel, the ripple effect that has outward to the planet and how healing that is. It truly is a gift that you have. And I hope that you can recognize how beautiful and meaningful and valuable your gifts are. So we also have for the astrology card, Saturn. So very interesting. I'm picking up on this disciplined energy, as well as the concept of like something that takes time, that takes, building. So if this is like a big project for you or something that's kind of like a long-term commitment or long-term vision, then, the power of Saturn is here to help you embody that, disciplined and ambitious energy. And even if with the Destiny card, it's something minor, like maybe you've just been wanting to crochet more, not as a business, but just because it brings you joy and it helps you relax or, anything like that. Saturn is still here because it's showing you that when you commit to even just the smallest of hobbies, it doesn't have to be something you do for money or a big business idea or something that you do like in a really serious way. Saturn is still here because it's about the version of yourself that you embody when you take time to do these hobbies and projects that nurture your soul. And so the long-term effects of that are not to be underestimated. And the reality and the future that you shape through the power of Saturn by committing to these even minor projects is huge and powerful. And destiny is, this is like what you've come on this planet to do. And again, whether it's something that you're doing for yourself to feed yourself internally, like you just want to cook more because it makes you happy, or you want to go on more walks. Like it could be literally any part of your routine, it could be you want to read more, or you want to do more crossword puzzles or coloring books, right? Like it's not about like, it's not always about what you have to offer the world. Sometimes it's about what you have to offer yourself, to nurture yourself, because then that allows you to show up in the world in a way that's of such a higher frequency. And so again, even if you're thinking of just like the most minor improvement that you'd like to make in your life, or the most minor hobby that you'd like to pick up on, or what seems to be a minor commitment, it is your destiny. If you're being called to it, if it's coming into your mind and resonating with your heart and soul, it is a part of your mission on this planet. And so, Saturn comes in with kind of this serious energy but it's valuable because it's about recognizing how even the little things you do, the little decisions you make, play a role in your reality, in your future, in you, in who you become. And so Saturn is here to remind us like the power and the seriousness of destiny. And when you infuse them with light and when you commit to them and you identify them, firstly, you become such a powerful light and beacon on this earth. So, okay, that was channeling through. I'm going to read the Saturn card. It says, Saturn is associated with the Roman god Saturn and sometimes with Father Time. Saturn is often called the hard taskmaster, probably because Saturn pushes us to feel ambition, set and achieve goals, and create secure lives. When we undertake these tasks, we usually learn important lessons through facing challenges. Okay, so with that starting off our reading, I mean, this is like serious life path messages here. So let's dive into the tarot. We're starting off with the World. Wow, okay, yeah, this is very like powerful life path defining messages coming through. So I'm also being called to refer you to a reading I recently did. It was a special extended reading, and it was the longest reading I've done on the channel so far. It was over an hour, and I went through every facet of life and kind of provided this space for you to do like an energy workshop, a check-in, an opportunity for you to write goals that, resonate with you, a time to really get cozy and take that reflective time for yourself, as well as me pulling tarot cards and doing a reading of the collective energy update for each facet of life. So we're talking things like your free time, your health and wellness, your relationships, your friendships, your spirituality. So, because we're getting a lot of life path messages coming through, I definitely recommend checking out that video because it's a great way to attune to what you need and, recalibrate your internal world so that you can figure out what's important to you and what you need to prioritize. And then, like I always say on this channel, work inside out, right? So take that time with yourself to reflect and to recognize what is valuable to you. What is your mission? What is your purpose? Like, I'm also hearing like maybe you need to write a mission statement for your life. Things like doing the core values exercise, things like writing out your routines I've talked about on this channel, like really organizing your life and getting clear on what matters to you and how you want to spend your time, because that's all going to help you know yourself better. I mean, it's like dating yourself, right? Like knowing what questions to ask yourself, knowing what your truths are, and really figuring out like what it is that you are being pulled to do. And as you continue to ask yourself these questions, you also really develop and strengthen your intuitive skills and your skills of inner knowing, of knowing like what is true for you, especially in a world with so much external content, external predictions, even like if you're hearing a lot of messages from tarot readings about you're going to get this in life, this is going to happen to you, this person is going to enter your life or whatever, like it can be extremely overwhelming. And when you have too much flow of energy that's from outside in, which we do live in a world very much like that, and especially if you're an empath or a sensitive and you're like a sponge to your external environment, you have to really get clear on like what external energies you want to be consuming. And yeah, so in this world of feeling predominantly the energies that move from external to internal, it is that much more crucial for you to take that internal time, that meditative time, that reflective time to feel what's true for you. So with that being said, I highly recommend checking out that video. Let's talk about the World. So, I mean, the messages are just so connected. Like if you're just tuning in today, I definitely recommend checking out the previous days because they like we get a lot of repeating cards and a lot of the messages are really intertwined. So to get the full picture and the full story of the messages, I mean, every reading is just such a crucial part of the messages and the big picture of what's coming through. But again, with the world, we have completion, the end of a karmic cycle. I mean, just the previous reading, we had Pluto. We talked about ending cycles, ending karmic cycles, transforming from old to new timelines. And with the world, I mean, this is just being reiterated so strongly. And it's a new era. And it's an alignment with your destiny. And I mean, we literally have the destiny card. And with Saturn coming in and providing us this maturity and mastery, it's like you are really stepping into this highest timeline of yourself, and you're ready for it because it's like your destiny is unfolding in such a natural way, and you've done this work. You've cleared out the things you needed to clear. You've completed these cycles of healing, and you've awakened, and, now you're starting anew. You're starting a new chapter. And so with the end of these karmic cycles, it could be something like any kind of pattern, internal or external, like internal meaning like your thoughts, your beliefs, your values, and external being your, actions, your choices, the way you show up in your connections or in the world. It could be the end of an attachment or the way that you show up in a particular attachment. Again, like leaving behind those toxic patterns and subconscious limiting beliefs that you had. And this is your destiny. I mean, this is just such a magical and meaningful part of your path. This pivotal transformation that you're undergoing that is unlike any that you've ever gone through. I mean, you are experiencing feelings of joy and, that manifestational power that you've never tapped into before this moment. Like, that's why this is such a pivotal shift for the collective. Okay, so let's move on with the tarot. So we have the Eight of Cups, which we have definitely gotten a few times recently. And this, again, is about moving on from those old ways, the emotional dissatisfaction and unfulfillment, and moving towards your deeper truth, your spiritual destiny, which requires an intuitive knowing, an intuitive journey. Of course, this is a water sign, right? So really knowing your feelings, knowing what your alignment is, what that looks like. This is a complete evolution of our feeling state and our embodiment of our emotions. So stepping into this new timeline where you don't allow any kind of misaligned connections or draining dynamics or cycles that kept you small or disempowered. I mean, completely moving beyond that. And it's that Saturn maturity that allows us to continue taking those steps forward, that mastery of self. So what else do we have here? We have the Star. Wow, this is beautiful. The Page of Cups and the Page of Pentacles. Okay, so we've got this. It's very interesting because the Eight of Cups is, of course, water and has like a stream down the mountain. And then the Star, she's like pouring water, into a pond. And then the Page of Cups, he's also standing by a pond with, a fish in the cup. So strong water energy here. And, I've talked about this on the channel before, the manifestational power that your emotions have. So, it is of your destiny to become a master, with the Saturn card, of your emotions, a master of your internal state, because that is what's going to dictate your external reality. So Spirit is reminding us, as we complete these cycles and we step into this new way of being, this new aura, this new existence, that you're going to be heart and soul led by your inner emotional state. And not that you're going to be swayed by emotional dysregulation, but you're going to be led by a empowered state of feeling those emotions of joy. And, with the Star, it's like that faith in the future, that trust in the divine timing, that trust in the universe, and just a general optimism moving forward, because that's what's going to allow your heart to remain open to the new blessings. You know, when you have that optimistic outlook, that's what allows you to receive in when things are ready to receive, ready to be received, again, in divine timing. So a lot of watery energy, I mean, reiteration of the importance of your emotions, the importance of your intuitive state. And so also with the Page of Cups and Page of Pentacles here, we're getting this beautiful balance of the earth and water. So that could be of significance to you, like astrologically, like your sign or even an external person's sign. But of course, on this channel, as I've said many times, I like to keep it self-focused and not on external, connections and outcomes. But the balance between water and earth may very well resonate strongly with you. And, it's just such a beautiful, with the page always represents like something in its infancy or like a childlike state. So there's this like childlike innocence of, with the Page of Cups, curiosity and emotional openness. And with the Page of Pentacles, it's like, grounding a dream into reality, even if it is at the beginning stages where you're just establishing these new foundations or you're just learning. This is about more confirmation. This is the balance between those things, between your emotions as well as, the grounding of it with the Page of Pentacles. So again, with Page of Cups, we've got creative inspiration, we've got inner child healing, we've got intuitive knowing, intuitive messages, intuitive channels and downloads that you may be receiving, and heart-led action, heart-led communication, heart-led intention. And there's just such an energy of softness and emotional alignment. And so that's a beautiful energy to harbor and to harness. And when you balance that with the groundedness of the Page of Pentacles and that commitment, and the Page of Pentacles and Saturn are very much aligned here. It's that commitment to growth. It's that commitment to, alchemizing your dream into your future reality and embodying that in the present, right? Like that grounded confidence and knowingness that you are on the right path and showing up as the dream version of yourself. That's a very harmonious union between your emotional state and your earth kind of groundedness, to be able to show up in each moment in a practical way, anchored in your emotions, anchored in those positive, optimistic emotions. That's what allows us to, manifest with such powerful co-creative strength. And so, and again, with the Page of Pentacles, the page is the student. They are diligent. They are serious about making progress. And again, with that Saturn compatibility. So this is a beautiful balance of, your heart and your emotions with your stability and the way you show up practically. So let's pull one more card here. We have the Sun. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So definitely like inner childlike innocence coming through. So I'm getting that for many of this collective, like in order to tap into your emotional truths and your intuitive knowings, you're being called to get in touch with your inner child. So as I'm sure you've heard before, it's recommended to do the things that you enjoy doing as a child in order to find your purpose and really get in touch with what your soul desires. Because when you were a child, you were much more connected to the spiritual realm and much more in touch with your emotions and your soul desires and your heart-led dreams. And so when you are able to tap into that lighthearted, playful, childlike energy, you are able to know yourself and know what resonates with you. And I'm also loving this kind of duality between, the Page of Cups, Page of Pentacles, and even the Sun, because, that the Sun card has the child on a horse in the sun. And the duality between that and the Saturn card, which of course is time and age and maturity. And so it's kind of like your inner child is guiding you along this path of mastery, along this very long-term path that's going to feed your soul's vision. But you have to initiate that path from your inner child so that you can be sure that you're on the right path and you're aligned with your true desires and your true destiny. Because an important message I want to just summarize this with is that when we talk about destiny and your mission and your purpose on earth, I mean, this is from like baby to death, right? Like from birth to death, from baby to mature adult or elder, right? Like this is, and with the Saturn card talking about father time, I mean, this is a lifelong journey of your destiny. And so being able to really integrate those two aspects, your inner child as well as the maturity that you step into, is the beautiful balance that allows us to be aligned with our destiny, to be aligned with our life path. And so if you have been kind of struggling or debating aspects of your life path of, what you want to prioritize, what matters to you, Spirit is calling you to balance the maturity and the experience that you have and the wisdom that you have, but also balance that with your inner child, which is always deep within you, in your soul, driving you in what you do if you allow it to, if you get in touch with it, if you bring it to the light. And that's when the sun is going to come in and bring you so much joy. And that's when Saturn is going to come in and get you so much progress and experience and, long-term stability that you're able to build. All of this is coming so clearly in on your path, when you are aligned with your soul's destiny. So, wow, it's a very beautiful reading. I hope that you got something out of this. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to leave it here and I will be back tomorrow for day 12. Thanks for listening. Bye.